Hello guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Faith. Today we'll be looking at this tutorial on how to make this lovely dress with drapes and cowl effect on the sides. If this sounds like something you're interested in, then let's get straight to the tutorial. Okay, we're going to be starting with the skirt pattern, and here I already have my skirt pattern drawn out. This is like a basic skirt, but I have the nails tightened already. Okay, so I have my CF there and my CB here. Okay, and this is my hip line and this is the knee line. Here I have the length of the skirt and this is the waist. Okay, all right, so I'll be working with my pencil and pen. Alright, in case I need to erase anything, then I'll finish up with my marker. Okay, so from the waistline to the hip line, I have it to be 8.5. Usually I make use of 10, but because there's going to be a band on the waist of this gown, I minus 1.5, which gave me 8.5. Now the length of my gown is 54. I'll be working with a bodice of 16, then plus 1.5, which is 17.5, and then I arrived at the 54. Now, okay. Now for my waist to hip, you can see that it's 10. Remember I mentioned that earlier, but some people can use 8, even 9. It depends on what works for you anyway, but me, 10 works for me very well. Okay, now to continue in this tutorial, first thing I'm going to do is to come to the line I have between my hip and my knee. I'll divide that line into 2 there, and then I'll do the same thing for the center front and the center back. Okay, then from that mark I'll come out by 1 inch, and the 1 inch I have is on that line where I have the border line between the 2 skirt blocks. Okay, now I will cut from my hip line, I will connect it to that one. Okay, now this is just to give that place an exaggeration. Okay, to continue the exaggeration from the hip. Okay, now after I mark there, I will come to the length of the skirt and go in by 0.5. Now I am using 0.5 there because I've already tightened my knee very well. I used 1.5 there, and on the center back I used half an inch, and then for the skirt I used 2 inches. But if you're working with a basic skirt where you haven't tightened your knee, you can just come to the hem of the gown of the skirt length there and then use your mark 2 inches inward. It's the same thing. Okay, so now I'll connect it back to where I have that 0.5. You might not see it very well because I'm trying to use a pencil. I want to make sure I have the line the way I want it. Then I'll trace it out with a marker for you to see. Okay, now this tutorial is for intermediate to advanced designers. As a beginner, you might find it confusing and a little difficult because it has a lot to do with slash and spread. But if you want to give it a trial, why not? Okay, so now you can see that I'm using my marker to trace it out. Here I want to make use of a straight ruler. Now you can see that we have that exaggeration there. Okay, now we're going to repeat the same process for the front. Alright, so I'll use my pencil now to trace it out. before I mark it with my marker. Alright, so now that I've completed this also, I'll go ahead now and cut it out. I'll separate the front and the back from each other. Remember to cut on your new side seam line. Okay, so this is the center front and this is the CB. To continue, what we're going to do is to close up the side seam. Okay, just close it up to wherever they meet. Alright, where you have the space from the hip there, that shouldn't be a bother, just leave it like so. Okay, now I'm working with a sellotape there and I'm trying to fix them together. Now we are doing this because the gown, there is no side seam on the skirt part of the gown. You know, we have cowl effect there. So, and if you notice and you look at the picture very well, you will see that there is no side seam there. Okay, so that's why we have to close up the side seam. Alright, now next thing is for us to create our drape lines. Okay, our slash and spread line. Now my waist is 8.25, so what I did here was I divided my waist into 5, okay, which is 8.5 divided by 5. I had it to be 1.6, but on the first line there I used 1.75 because I had a little left over. Okay, so now that I've marked for the center front, that is my front skirt pattern, I'm going to be connecting them together now, and you can see that I took that one straight to the back. That's because the first drape will be a long one, likewise the second one. Okay, now for the third one I'll just be connecting it to somewhere here. For the front I had 4 slash lines. Okay, and now that I think I'm okay with it, I'll come with my marker and then I'll trace it out to make it visible. Okay, and then I'll repeat the same process for the back, only that this time the back will not have these long ones we have, so we're going to connect the back to somewhere below the hip line where we have our third slash line for the front. Okay, but first we're going to mark out the distance between our slash lines, which was 1.6. Okay, Okay, so you can see now I'm trying to determine how my slash lines will be. Okay, now in total for the back I also had 4 slash lines. I decided to add one to the front, but I ended up not making use of it because it was too small. Okay, now that we have all these lines drawn, I expected to start cutting it out, but before then I had to label, like to mark out everything, because when you cut out now it's going to become very confusing, and to avoid mixing it up with the back, so I'll advise you label so you know which is which. Okay, so now that I have that done, we're going to start slashing and then spreading. Okay, now I brought in another paper, okay, to make it easy for us. Now this is the first slash line, so I'll take it to the edge of the new paper and try to fix it there. Now I'll be working with pins, but if you have if it's sellotape you have, or you have gum, whichever you have that works for you will be fine. But for this tutorial I'll be using pins to stick my patterns together. Okay, alright, so now I want to determine the space, that is the amount of spread I'll be putting in between the slashes, and I decided to make use of 2.5 inches. Okay, right, so since I have that done, I'll go ahead and pin it down. Okay, alright, now I will slash the second one. And then spread it also. I'll also be spreading it by that 2.5 inches also. Alright, so now that we have all these two in place, I'll connect these two lines because that's where we need to cut out now. Okay, now I want to turn it this side so that you can see it very well. So I'll just slash this out for the front, all out, and then repeat the same thing for the back. Okay, so now we're going to be spreading it out, and I made use of 2 inches or 1.5, I think. Yeah, I made use of 1.5 to spread this. Okay, so while spreading this, I actually made a mistake which I didn't realize until later on in the video where I made the correction. Alright, we were actually supposed to space our slashed lines so that we can have the cow effect on the side seam there, which I didn't do. You can see that I fixed all they all started from the same point there where we have that cutout from the knee area there. Okay, but I corrected it later on. I just thought of to mention it here. So the correction was done later on in the video. Alright, okay, so this is the back also, and we can see that I'm spreading it out by the same 1.5. Okay, okay, so guys, you can see that we have finished spreading out our slashed lines. Okay, now the next thing we're going to be doing is to fold we're going to be connecting our slash lines together so that we can cut off the excess paper we have on the waistline there. So you can see that I'm trying to pleat them together to meet up again. Okay, that's like returning your pattern to how it was initially. Okay, because we need to trim out the excess paper we have on the top there, and so that we can determine how to straighten out the waistline. Okay, so which is what I'm doing now. You want to hold it down with a pin. Okay, so try as much as possible to connect all your waistline there, and make sure that your patterns return and are equal like they were initially. This might be a little tricky or probably stressful to you, but you just have to do this. Okay, now for the back is going to come the other way. Okay, your pleat has to face the side seam. So when you pleat from the front to the side seam, and then you have to start your pleat for the back from the center back so that it can also face the side seam for the back. That's the way you can have the drape and the cow effect. Okay, facing each other like this. Now you can see that our pattern is already looking beautiful, and we're already arriving at what we want. Okay, that's another reason why you need to do this, to put your slash lines back together. Then you'll know if you're on point. At this point, I measured my waistline to be sure that I have up to half of my waist measurement, because you know this is the front and the back together, so that means we have half of the skirt waistline. So I need to make sure that what I have there will give me half of my waistline. My waistline is 29, So 29 divided by 2 is going to be 14.5. So you want to make sure that you have up to half of your waistline when you pleat it together like that. So now I've cut out the excess that I have there. Can you see? And then on the hemline also, I want to trim out the excess paper I have there also. Alright. Likewise, the center back, I have some excess there, which I'll trim out. Okay. Now I'll go ahead and loosen back the waistline. The reason for pleating was so that I can get rid of that excess paper I had there, and to also see my pattern was on track, or if I was on track, like I was getting what I wanted. Okay, and now that I'm okay with what I have, I'll loosen back the pins. Okay, so your pattern should look close to this, look like something like this. Alright, now I'll set this aside and we'll work on the bodice. Okay, so this is my basic bodice. Alright, I have for the front and for the back. I didn't impute my bust dart, which is what I'm doing now. Now the bust dart is the difference between your front length and your back length, and I have that to be 2 inches for this pattern. My front block is 16 inches long and the back is 14 inches, so I have difference of 2 inches there. Now I will separate the front and the back. First thing, I'm going to close up the bust dart like so. Now I'll blend the side there. There's a little difference there. Okay, now I'll go ahead and cut out the excess paper I have there. I'll cut out my front block now so that we can carry out all the alteration which we need to do. For the neckline, I decided to alter the neckline before I continue. So for the neck depth, I decided to make use of 6.5 inches there. And then on the shoulder, I went out also by 1 inch. Okay. Alright, so this is my front block. I'll repeat the same process for the back. I'll cut out. Remember, I went out on the neckline by 1 inch, which is what I'm doing here. Alright. Now this is my fresh paper. Okay. At this point, I had no idea of how the back of the gown looked like, so I was thinking of either to close my waist dart or to leave it. I wasn't sure how the back looks like, but I decided to just leave it. Okay. And I pinned it to a fresh paper. Remember that our bodice has a dormant sleeve, which is what we normally call a cut together sleeve. and that's what I'm trying to achieve now. At the armhole there, I decided to make use of a pencil because we're not even supposed to have that line there, but I want to make sure I have a straight line, which is why I used pencil first. Now from the waist of the back, you can see the way I connected it straight to the armhole there, well, to join our sleeve. Okay, so this is how you create a dormer sleeve. All right. Okay, so now we'll repeat the same process for the front. Now remember that we have some pleats in the front also. So what I'm going to do is I will slash the front pattern also. I'll slash it open so that I can add enough fabric to it for the pleats, but I don't want to do it together so that I don't get you confused. So when I'm done with the dormer sleeve, I'll also do that. Alright, so this is me connecting the sleeve now, and just the way we did for the back, you connect it the same way. Can you see? Alright, so I'll go ahead now and then I'll cut it out. Okay, alright. Now I want to slash that front open, so you can see that I connected from my bust apex to the mid shoulder, and this is because I want to slash it open so that I can add more fullness to it because of the pleats that we are going to be having in front there. Okay, for the front I decided to open it up by 8 inches. Okay, so I'll pin it down now and then we'll cut out and our front block will be ready. So this is it, our front block is ready. Okay, now for the back, at this point you can see how the back looks like. The back is a V neckline, and then you can see it has some little gathers or gathered effect, so I decided to alter it here, and I decided to make my back 6.5 also. I don't want it too low, but you know it's all about choice, so you do what you want. Okay, so this is the new neckline for the back, and I also repeated the same process for the back just like I did for the front. I from the dart I opened it up to the shoulder, and then I added 7 inches to it. Okay, you can see that, so that we can gather it and then have that effect that is at the back. Okay, and then this is the front, and that is all. Please note that your front is going to be on fold because there is no opening on the center front, but there is for the skirt anyway, but there isn't for the bodice. So make sure that your front bodice is on fold. Okay, now this is the skirt. I remember I told you that we had an error there. Okay, which is what I want to work on now, because if we don't space out that place, we won't have any cow effect there. Okay, they are not supposed to be um all together like that. So you can see all we need to do is to just remove what we have there and then space it out. Okay, next one. So from that point there, I'll be going up by 2 inches, and then which will be my starting point for the first slash lines that I have there. Okay, can you see? Please make sure you effect this on your pattern, because if you don't do this, though you're going to be having those drapes there, but that cowl effect there will be missing. Okay, so when you that's just all that we need to do, and then just return your pattern. For the second one, I'll also go up by that 2 inches and space it out like so. Can you see? It's very easy. And then the same thing for the last two. Okay, okay, so now because we have slash lines running out of our initial waistline, I'll have to come with another paper to make up for the excess that we have there. Okay, so I'll go ahead now and pin the skirt pattern to this new fresh paper that we have, and then we'll continue with the alteration. Okay guys, so this is it. I've finished the pleats, and then the next thing will be for us to, just like we did that first time, okay, you want to put them together so that we can trim out the excess paper that we have. But for this one, the front waistline now, the front, that's the center front line now, because of how we went up on the side seam there, the midpoint on the side seam there, the front waistline is low compared to that side. So what I did was, for the front waistline, I went up to be able to meet up to the side there. I went up there. I didn't use where the initial pattern for the waistline is. I'm so sorry my hand was covering that, but when I'm done with the cutout, you're going to see what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is me connecting all of them together. Okay, Remember to pleat from your center back to the side back. That's how it should be done. Okay, please take out your time and do this. It's really necessary and it's important you do this. Okay, it might look tedious and time consuming, but you just have to do it. Okay. Alright, so now that I've joined all of them, I'll just go ahead and cut on the line I have there now. Remember, I marked with my marker, but at the same time you have to be joining them before you cut. Okay. Okay, so this is it. So now can you see? And that point I'm pinning again. You can see that the new fresh paper made it higher and equal to closer to the side seam there, which was not where our initial waistline pattern was. Okay, so can you see now? This is what we have, and now you can see that the side seam is fuller compared to the first one that we had. Yeah. Okay, now at this point you will want to do what works for you. You can see that I'm trying to impute notches because when I cut on fabric also, I'm going to be returning all these notches also to the fabric. You need to work with lots of notches so that you can know where and where to pleat to each other. Okay, so just use what you will recognize and understand. Just know that you have to work with notches, lots and lots of notches at this point. Okay, the cutting and sewing of this gown is very easy. Okay, I want to mention that please make sure that you're cutting your fabric on bias fold. Okay, your skirt pattern should be placed on bias. Okay guys, so this is the fabric I'll be working with. You can see I so much love this fabric, and it's 4 yards. Remember, you need a matching zipper, matching thread, and if it's bias you'll be using to turn the neck, then you need a matching bias also. Okay, alright guys, remember I told you I won't be showing you how to cut this, and I also won't be showing how to sew this also, because it's very easy. Once you cut your skirt on bias, that's all you need. There's no need for lining or anything, so it's very easy to sew. But I'll be showing you how to create the pleats. Okay, remember that I notch that side, which is the center front, so that I won't get confused. Now you know, for the center front you have to pleat from the front to the midpoint where you have your side seam, and then from the center back also you have to pleat in the other direction. That is because your pleats has to face each other. I hope you understand. Just do what I do and you get it. And you can see that you don't need to stress about it. Your pleats will form, and because when you use all the notches just like I advise, you're going to have it very easy to pleat. You have to use the notches in a way you will understand. That is why I don't think there is any way I can show you, but you just have to do what works for you at this point. Okay, so you can see that our cow effect and our drape lines are already forming You don't need to stress about it. If you link your notches together just the way you did on your pattern. Can you see? Okay, so guys, this is it. Can you see? Now you just repeat the same process for the second one, and then you are done. So I'll show you the finished look of the gown now, and then you can rate me in the comment section. How did I do? Can you see? This is our gown. So thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for staying tuned and watching to this point. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.